Good afternoon, colleagues. John Kerr, Assistant Director for Learning Innovation and Digital Education at the University of Glasgow. And over the next couple of minutes, I'm just going to show a bit of the process we've went through bringing in ABC, the reasons why we've adapted it, and some of the use cases that my unit, the Learning Innovation Support Unit, use it on a daily basis with staff. And this is based on chapter number 7. So first of all, I think someone's sort of alluded to this, but a big shout out to all the work that came before me. This is clearly a standing on the shoulder of giants situation I think we all find ourselves in. I think it's just important to say that to everyone who's put in all the effort that allows us to do this type of work from this point, so thank you. So why did we select and adapt the ABC approach? It was very important for us that we had an evidence-informed framework that could support the content mapping of courses, and for us at that point it was around our rapid development of MOOCs. So going back to the early sort of future learn days, we need something that could be flexible and iterative, and some of the work we've done has built upon that ability to come back to course design. We just heard that from the last speaker about being able to come back and adapt rather than being a one and done. So we've managed to do that. We needed something that was a low barrier to entry. There's a lot of frameworks, a lot of models out there we could use, but I think ABC brought a lot of different skill sets together into one conversation as equals. And I think we've heard Clive speak about that at the beginning. I think that's such a massive part of the framework about bringing people together. It is obviously a learn the first approach, so for us that is huge because we're not talking about technology, we're talking about learners and the design of the pathways throughout the course. And we needed something scalable, something that could grow as our online portfolio matures and develops. So over 10 years, we have used the ABC approach. It was first brought into the University of Glasgow by Vicky Dale. If you know Vicky, shout out to sort of Vicky. Vicky brought it in that traditional paper-based, and we were one of the first, I believe, to digitise it, which was using real-time board, which is now Miro, but that was the first effective board that we used for the reasons I've already outlined. As we've developed it, we now use it for all of our MOOCs and micro-credentials, and we also use it for our fully online degree programmes across multiple disciplines because it just transcends that so very well. And of course, what we've done at Glasgow, we've tailored and adapted it. So we now have incorporated multiple VLEs and external platforms into our digitised design. That way, if we're working with staff on things like Coursera, FutureLearn, Moodle, even COIL-based activities, and we have a campus in Singapore and they use Excite as a platform. So we've captured a lot of that and brought that into how we've adapted ABC, and it's all available for colleagues to use. So this is the Miro map as it sits at the moment. So this will look very familiar, obviously, if you've used the ABC approach. So we've effectively taken what was designed in the sheet and we've taken the cards, and what we have done is we've broken it down into the readings, the videos, discussion, reflections, etc. And then with staff, you drag and drop the learning type card onto the board and you create that dynamic pathway for learners. And if you want to splinter pathways out based on different learner needs, or perhaps if this is a quiz, if they pass or fail, then what do they get next? The good thing about something like Miro is it allows you to do that sort of in abundance. Equally, by doing it in this approach, we can adjust the types of approaches we would use in acquisition or collaboration. So we can swap these in and out very, very quickly. And we've done that with some AI tools that we may see later. So that should all look very familiar. It's all very discursive. These boards can take anywhere between sort of 15 to 20 minutes, depending on working with staff. The first initial week or two often takes about an hour to get to a week of content. So what we're seeing here is a week of content, not a course. That's like a week and a MOOC. So one of the major things we did was we conducted some research in 2019 on our use of the ABC approach, and staff had come back and says this is fantastic, but the Miro board lacks the ability to put in more granular detail. So we've reflected on that, and from 2020 till right into to today, we've developed this spreadsheet that's evolved, which allows you to take that Miro map and build it into what we call time allocation spreadsheet. And all of the fields are a drop-down menu, and you get to pick exactly, this is just a sort of snapshot, it doesn't give you the full spreadsheet, I think that's on the next slide, but you get to pick exactly what type of activity the learners have to do, whether it's been completed, who does the activity, so who's in charge of it, whether that's been completed or not. And for the different platforms, whether it be Coursera, FutureLearn, Moodle, Excite, or Coil, there's a further drop down that depicts all of the activities that that platform allows you to deliver on. So, FutureLearn has 8 to 10 different activities. Our Moodle site is about 40. Coursera is about 23. So there's very much differences across our platforms. And what this allows staff to see is a very visual representation of their time that they're asking learners to spend across their week. At the bottom left, you'll see the weekly graduate attributes. So University of Glasgow has graduate attributes. I'm sure a lot of universities do. And developing this allowed us to bring in those in-house elements that we want staff to explore as they develop their content. And finally, what we heard from staff was it would be fantastic to see a full dashboard view of what happens in a course and not just within a week of the course. And this is very important because if you're a program convener, you could look at this one pager and you could get to see roughly how a course is designed and broken down into the learning types. At the moment, you'd need to go into Moodle courses and you'd need to read all the documentation, but this gives staff a different place to start. And they really do enjoy being able to look at a dashboard. And whether or not each week they want to have a similar look and feel in terms of the time and the type of content, or each week should be completely different because the ILOs are completely different, this gives you that as a snapshot. So this is very, very effective in our eyes. A couple of things that we've worked on sort of more recently is that we are starting to use this approach with blended learning activities, not just our MOOCs and micro-credentials and online degrees. So to do that, we've built in a couple of drop-downs in the spreadsheet that shows where the activity is taking place, whether it's going to be on campus or it's something that the students have to do remotely, and that approach as well, whether it's a synchronous or asynchronous approach. And what we get from that on the right-hand side in the stats, it gets to show you the activity, the location, and where students are expected to complete those tasks. So again, this is from feedback from staff who are using this approach with us, but have suggestions about wouldn't this be good, and once we get to a point and thought about it, we can hopefully try and develop as we very, very quickly. Our next steps are to continue to evolve this. User feedback is a massive part that we rely upon for our developments, our institutional needs as well. I touched upon our COIL developments and the changes we've made to support that. Equally, as Moodle develops, we develop our approach, and as I'm bringing in more of those AI tools that can support content design, and how do we bring those in for staff to be aware of as they map content.